So hello.
Hello.
It's an honor to meet you.
Well, thank you.
So how do you feel?
Did you watch it?
I watched it and I loved it. It was something that I wanted to know the story behind. So
Great.
it was really good, a really brilliant watch actually. I'm glad it's finally come out in the UK because I've been aware of it for a while.
Well, yeah. It was in the States first, and HBO made some kooky deal in the beginning, so we had to get Netflix involved, and it worked out.
No, it's good. I think people are anticipating this story. So I just want to say, when Dr. Dre came to Interscope with The Chronic, what was it that made you say, like, what was it that connected you and said, like, this is the guy I'm going to work with, and this is the guy whose friendship has evolved, your business with Beats, your sorry, I can never say it, philanthropical work with the schools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What was it about him that you connected to?
Well, two things happened. One is I didn't know a lot about hip hop.
Mm.
You know, I didn't like a lot of the sound because I come from an audio background, right? I was an engineer and a record producer. So when I heard hip hop, I was hearing all these 808s and all this stuff, but no one really had it figured out. You know what I mean? It was all very. It was the opposite of how I made records. Not the music, just the audio, right? When Dre walked in, I had my same I had my same speakers as when I produced rock records. But when his hip hop when he played me The Chronic, it was like, whoa, this is as complex as Pet Sounds or Sgt. Pepper or, you know, Pink Floyd's The Wall. I was like, who did this? So I said it to him. I said, Dre, who produced this? He says, me. I said, who engineered it? He said, me. I said, this guy will define Interscope.
Wow.
And I just knew.
And what was it in his personality? Because you guys are very similar. The way the documentary parallels your lives, similar.
We had
journeys.
the same. We had the same thing. We didn't care about bullshit. You know, we cared about the product. We didn't breathe our own exhaust. You know what I mean? You have a hit record, you go, oh man, I'm gonna go out tonight. I wasn't what it was about. You know, we've always cared about the work and and having success, but at the same time thinking about what's next. You know, I don't think he looks back at all, and I don't think I look back at all. I know I don't. Mm-hmm. And this was a crazy thing to do because it's about looking back. But at this time in my life, it was kind of okay. And Allen had that idea, you know.
So you brought together, as you said, the worlds of rock and rap. You had Marilyn Manson, Nine Inch Nails, Snoop, Dre, Tupac. What was it like to be a part of that kind of culture explosion and merging these two, not even merging them, bringing them to the forefront of popular culture? What was it like to be in the middle of all that?
Well, I only look at things as great or not great.
Sure.
So if it's great, and if it's whatever's great, I don't care what it is. You know, you meet people that's great. You meet Tupac, he's great. You meet Trent Reznor, he's great. You know, and you try to work with as many great people as you can. There are some people that you're going to work that are just good, or they're clever, or they got a great gimmick, or a vibe, or something, because you're running a business. But I'm always looking for what's great, and I follow what's great. And you know, it was incredible. Because Atlantic Records had that in the early days. Atlantic Records had the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, and they also had Aretha Franklin and Ray Charles. And those things, to me, belong in the same boat. You know what I mean? That's why the same way Trent Reznor and Marilyn Manson and Pac and Dre and Snoop belong in the same pot. You know, it just had that feeling of that anarchy. But you know, you don't see a lot of it anymore. That's why I've kind of gotten interested in art lately, because people like Mark Bradford, like we just donated a painting to LACMA, that's really incredible. And, you know, Ed Ruscha, and there are a lot of people in the art world right now, Glenn Ligon, who are doing some really cool stuff. I'm not seeing that in music as much. Like Kendrick Lamar goes there.
Sure.
And I love Kendrick Lamar. So I'm always looking for that message, that spirit of, you know, what are we going to do about this? Not let's have a hit and, you know.
I was going to say to you that you being a part of that explosion, and also there was a negative side, and you were often accused of polluting the minds of the youth with this music, both rock and hip-hop. And obviously hip-hop went a bit further into the deaths and murders of some prominent people. How did you resolve that in yourself? And, you know, you said that you were defending freedom of speech, but also you kind of thought, am I defending Hamas as well? So yeah. That was a lot of weight of responsibility. How did you tackle that?
Well, look, you take the different people that were involved, you know, and I'll leave some of the names out, but you take a guy like Dre, who just kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and he wanted to become an incredible person. He was a great person, but he became a real great cat, right? So So anyway, I try to balance it. I try to put as much positivity into the people as possible. I'm their record company, or I can't control what goes on when they leave my orbit. They don't work for me. Everybody thinks they work for you. They don't work for me. I have a recording contract with them. You know, other people have a makeup line with them or a sporting thing. You know, so it was tough, but I knew the basis of what we were talking about. I knew Tupac was allowed to say whatever he wanted to say. And I was going to support that. Now, it also came with some anarchy and not anarchy, it came with some stuff that caused mayhem to a certain extent. And I don't agree with that. But some of the people that we worked with got through it because of the positivity. And some of the people were just going to go where they were going to go, whether they were successful or not. And they were going to go in that direction, and there was no stopping them. Because I did personally put a lot of time into people that I was working with, you know, whether it be drugs or, I just try to make it, when the music's great, you want to keep those people around and healthy and making great music. And just say, guys, for example, certain things in hip hop, for example, you're like, you know, every gangster in the world wants to be a legitimate businessman. You're a legitimate businessman. Why in the world would you want to be a gangster? You know, so, and sometimes it works and sometimes it don't.
You know, what would you want people to take away from this documentary? And also, one thing I must say I got from it is that your faith in who you are, determination and fearlessness came through from both you and Dr. Dre in how you've managed to get to your level of success, if you define it as success. And are you satisfied with everything you've done? And just generally, what do you want people to take from this?
I'm not satisfied with everything I've done. I'm satisfied with the attitude I had in doing it.
Sure.
Which is work really hard and take fear and try to have it push you forward rather than stop you. I don't care what you're doing, how old you are. There are things you should be afraid of. You know what I mean? But things in work and socially, just learn to enjoy it. Turn it into like fear now makes you go, oh, well, when coming up in that movie, and that my life, I just said, okay, I'm afraid of this, but that's a poltergeist. Fear is a poltergeist. It's not real. Sometimes it's real. Somebody's sitting in front of you with a sawed-off machine gun. That's real. You know, you go to Iraq. That's real. But soldiers do that. They just say, no, I'm going forward. I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm going forward. And you got to keep going forward. And a lot of times people are afraid of something as silly as failure. There's nothing wrong with failure. No one's looking at you. No one cares. No one cares when I fail. No one will care when you fail. Failing is a part of the process. And it's hard to get that. I deal with that with my kids. They're in their 20s, and I say, guys, failing is okay. And I like this movie for them. So if I like it for them, I'm probably going to love it for young people out there who just say, man, this guy didn't know what he was doing. He just kept going. And that's what I hope people get out of the movie. Keep it moving.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much